How's it going, everybody? Happy Saturday. Hope you're all having a good day out there. We got some editing in store for today. We're going to be going through and working once again on the video that we were working on last time. Let's see here. Let me pull this up so you can see what we're looking at. This is kind of what we're working with this whole timeline, essentially. So we're going to be doing some editing, doing some effects work, After Effects. I won't bore you with the music part unless we literally don't have anything else to do, just because a lot of that is just me playing a bunch of songs and saying, no, that's not right, and then playing another one and just trying to find what fits right. So I won't do that. But yeah, Dan the Man. Hey, how's it going? Sunday in Australia? Oh my gosh. I guess that's fair. How many hours ahead is Australia? Is it 12? More than that? Allie's here too, by the way. Kind of. Working from her desk. Oh, we got somebody. Oh, let's see. But Saul over in India, how's it going? Luna, how's it going? Seeker88. Glad to see you all guys here. All you people here in the chat. 11 a.m. Okay, so that would be like 13 hours? No, 15 hours? I guess so, 15 or 16 hours. I'm glad that you're here. Glad that it's not like 4 a.m., you know? What time is it in India, but Saul? It is the future there. That's a quote that I used to have memorized. It was like, don't worry about the world ending today because it's already tomorrow in Australia. So we're gonna be editing away, working on the video, really getting into that and doing that kind of work. And I've got a nice glass of rosé, so we're set to go. So hopefully that's good. 7:15 a.m. over in India. Also Sunday. Wow. You're all there from the future. Hey, and Lucas from Brazil. How's it going? Man, we got people all over the world joining in. Happy to see you all. So yeah, so we'll be doing editing today, and hopefully getting a decent chunk of the video completed, and then I'll probably end up trying to finish it off tomorrow, so that it's ready to go on Wednesday. And part of the reason why it's got to be done so early is because it needs to get approved, since this has a sponsored message as part of it. So we'll have to send that off, make sure that, you know, it gets the okay, the thumbs up, and then that's usually pretty quick, but it can take up to 48 hours to get that approval. So we like to have that cushion so that we're not putting ourselves in a bind and waiting on a sponsor to like tell us that it's okay to post a video. So anyway, oh, and we got Leva Chassa in the UK. That's awesome. 2:40 a.m. Wow. Well, you're brave to be awake so late. Hopefully this is either interesting enough to keep you awake, if that's what you want, or boring enough to lull you to sleep. All right, while we're waiting, and just before we get into the editing, I thought it'd be fun to like talk about today, because Allie and I were doing some house renovation stuff, just like painting, essentially. You know, we have this big space, and one of the rooms on the top floor needed to be painted, and then we're gonna replace the flooring and do all that jazz, which, you know, is a big undertaking, and we've been like gearing up for it forever. And so we have a paint sprayer to help make this job easier, but as a result of using the paint sprayer, you have to like plastic up all the windows and all the openings and everything, so that you're not spraying or getting some of these like particles on your windows or anywhere that you don't want them. But it's been extremely hot today, so it was in the 90s Fahrenheit, and as a result of that, we essentially created a greenhouse on the 3rd floor. So it was 90 degrees outside, and then in addition to that, you close all the windows and doors, and you just have like extreme heat. So probably not the smartest thing that we've ever done, but we got started in the morning, and by midday it was just brutal. And I think probably the smart thing would have been to stop, but we were so close to the end, we're like, let's just get it finished. So luckily nobody got heat stroke. We're all alive and well, and the room is primed, so now we have to paint, which is going to be a whole other ordeal. But hey, I'm just glad that it's done. All right, let's transfer into editing mode. Pull you over. There we go. So I'm going to turn down the music a little bit too, because it's a bit loud on my end. Let me know if the levels seem to be a bit off for you guys. If I sound too quiet, if the music's too quiet or too loud, and I can change stuff up. All right, so here's the deal. We have done a rough edit of the video. It's about 16.5 minutes long currently. But what I'd like to do right now is go through, we have essentially the rough takes, and I want to start to make cuts in order to eliminate awkward pauses or to overlap clips so that things flow very nicely, and just to like start to work on that. And then after I do that, then we'll get into effects. I'm trying to be a bit organized with this. Sometimes it gets a little bit mishmash. I'll start doing the cutting of clips, and then I'll get distracted and want to do an effect right away. So, and in a perfect world, I'd probably put in the music first so that I could cut with the music in mind a little bit, but we're not going to do that for this. And frankly, that's not what we do for most of them. So here we go. All right, put John Cena in it. Yeah, I don't know if, I don't think he would want to appear. If you got a connection though, let me know. All right, so let's start off and just see what we've got so far. And I'm gonna be doing these cuts so that things flow. All right, first things first. We're gonna have beginning of the video sort of fade in. And oops, let's start for 50. And also the audio we're gonna fade into. Like so. All right, that should help a little bit.
If you're into fitness, or if you know anyone who is, you've probably met someone who's on the keto diet.
Okay, great. So what we'll probably do is just see how much we can get away with overlapping these without it sounding.
Who's on the keto diet. It seems like yet another trendy low-carb diet, like the Atkins diet or paleo diet, right? All of these food regimens use the same paleo diet, right?
Okay, so we're gonna make the intro in particular right at the start of the video. I want it to be quick and sort of like snappy, so that if somebody is watching it who's never seen one of our videos before, they're not going to get bored during this time.
Right? All of these food
It should come in a little bit earlier.
Right? All of these food
I don't want her to be in this shot for too long. Oops. Okay.
like the Atkins diet or paleo diet, right? All of these food regimens use the same basic principles that force your body to burn fat for fuel instead of sugar. But what if I told...
Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on? I can't even see it. What does that say? Oh, shoot, I just missed it. Jeffrey someone. Hang on, give me a second. Let me pull that up. Jeffrey Lindsay, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Yeah, just so you know, those of you watching over on YouTube, we're also streaming over on Twitch, so feel free to follow over there if that's your preferred platform. If not, just keep doing what you're doing.
For fuel instead of sugar.
Okay, once again, we're making this snappy, right? We want it to be really, oops, really quick. I don't know why it did that. Don't like that. Why is it doing that? For whatever reason, okay, check this out. If I cut here, it only cuts the video and not the audio as well, which is a little bit, oh, I see. They've become unlinked somehow, so we're gonna relink those. Okay, there we go. So, what we'll do is we'll just bring this back over. We're gonna, once again, take just the video clip and move that over. Let's see what that sounds like.
But what if I told you that the fuel instead of sugar? But what if I told you instead of sugar?
You can kind of see her inhale right there, and I don't want that exactly.
Instead of sugar. But what if I told sugar? But what if I told you that the keto diet, unlike those other diets, is useful not just for helping people lose weight and get buff? It's actually a valuable medical
Okay, we're also gonna cut that. We're gonna make this real snappy at the start.
buff.
Keep her with her mouth closed there, just because it looks better that way.
It's actually
Okay, so we'll once again do that.
It's actually a valuable medical
Jeffrey Lindsay. Yeah, totally understand that you can't stick around. No problem at all. Thanks for joining and for checking out the stream, and look forward to seeing you in future streams whenever this happens soon.
buff. It's actually a buff.
Okay, once again, I'm gonna put that back.
Buff. It's actually a valuable medical tool.
Okay, let's see how this is looking so far now that we've cut this down slightly. See how the timing is.
If you're into fitness, or if you know anyone who is, you've probably met someone who's on the keto diet. It seems like yet another
That's a little bit too quick. Let's do that. Let's see how that goes.
diet. It seems like yet another trendy low-carb diet, like the Atkins diet or paleo diet, right? All of these food regimens use the same basic principles that force your body to burn fat for fuel instead of sugar. But what if I told you that the keto diet, unlike those other diets, is useful not just for helping people lose weight and get buff? It's actually a valuable medical tool that can be used to help treat epilepsy.
Okay, I think that's a good start.
It's
Oh, you know what? Give me 1 second. I realized that my keyboard is not showing up here. Give me 1 moment. There we go. And now it should show up. All right. Some people like to see what keys are being pressed as we're going through this stuff.
It seems like yet another trendy low-carb diet, right? Help treat epilepsy. It seems like yet another trendy low-carb diet, right? Just like the Atkins diet or the paleo diet. All of these food regimens use the same basic principles that essentially force the
Now we
body
can
to
start
burn
slowing it
fat
down.
for fuel instead of sugar.
Oh, wait. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so we have a second take. And I must not have deleted it at some point. So let's actually evaluate which is the better take here.
On the keto diet. It seems like yet another trendy low-carb diet, like the Atkins diet or paleo diet, right? All of these food regimens use the same basic principles that force your body to burn fat for fuel instead of sugar. But what if I told you that the keto diet, unlike those other diets, is useful not just for helping people lose weight and get buff? It's actually a valuable medical tool that can be used to help treat epilepsy. It seems like yet an
Yeah, the transition at that part, it's all felt kind of abrupt. I think you're right. I think what we're gonna do is instead of doing sort of a J cut, we'll do just a straight up jump cut.
get buff. It's actually a valuable medical tool that can be used to help.
And after we do this, then we'll start messing with the zoom factor. So, you know, right now, oh, it's at 73%. So right now, this video, for whatever reason, is at 73% scale. This one is 50%, right? So we can go, you know, we can go all the way up to 100, right? And get pretty close in there without losing any quality. since we shot in 4K, but we're editing in 1080. But for right now, let's leave all of these at 50% because don't particularly, I think I changed the zoom when I was talking about something, but not a big deal. And she says, but what if I told you?
Sugar. But what if I told you that the keto diet instead of sugar? But what?
Okay, well, let's compare these two takes first and see if what we end up keeping.
It seems like yet another trendy low-carb diet, like the Atkins diet or paleo diet, right? All of these food regimens use the same basic principles that force your body to burn fat for fuel instead of sugar. But what if I told you that the keto diet, unlike those other diets, is useful not just for helping people lose weight and get buff. It's actually a valuable medical tool that can be used to help treat epilepsy. It seems like yet another trendy low-carb diet, right? Just like the Atkins diet or the paleo diet. All of these food regimens use the same basic principles that essentially force the body to burn fat for fuel instead of sugar. But what if I told you that the keto diet, unlike these other diets, does more than just help people lose weight and get buff? In fact, it's sometimes used today as a valuable medical tool to treat epilepsy. But let's back up. Where did these low-carb diets come from? And how the heck do they have an effect on epilepsy?
Okay.
But
I kind of like that second take better.
it seems like yet another trendy low-carb diet, right? Just like the Atkins diet or the paleo diet. All of these food regimens use the...
Yeah, we're gonna actually just take that whole take and remove this other stuff. Okay.
It seems...
Yeah, okay.
It seems...
Okay, we're gonna do the same thing that we were doing before though. Doing a little bit of J cutting. Oops.
Diet. It seems keto diet.
No. Move that in.
Diet. It seems...
Great. I think that's a good speed.
On the keto diet. It seems like yet another trendy low-carb diet, right? Just like the Atkins diet or the paleo diet. All of these food regimens, paleo diet.
Okay, we'll cut that there. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Cut that again, move this back up, move it over. We don't need the breath, so we'll remove that part.
Diet. All of these food regimens.
Okay, we'll give a little bit more breathing room for that.
Paleo diet. All of these food regimens. Paleo diet. All of these food regimens use the same.
I think that's good. I guess we'll find
Paleo diet. All.
New diet.
Keto diet. It seems like yet another trendy low-carb diet, right? Just like the Atkins diet or the paleo diet. All of these food regimens use the same basic principles that...
I think I'm just gonna have it jump cut because the J cut is not doing it for me.
Diet. All of these food regimens use the same basic principles that essentially force the body to burn fat for fuel instead of sugar. But what if I told you that the keto diet, unlike these other diets, does more than just help people lose weight and
That's
get
better.
buff?
Okay, good.
In fact, it's sometimes used today as a valuable medical tool to treat epilepsy. But let's...
Okay, so now we have this sort of like longer section that's not bad. It doesn't really need a lot of cutting because it moves at a decent pace. But we could cut it
Paleo
short.
diet. All of these food regimens use the same basic principles that essentially force the body to burn fat for fuel instead of sugar. But what if I told you that the...
Let's cut there.
Sugar.
We'll cut there. Oops. Okay, I guess these aren't paired again. Oh, they are. this back up. We'll do this. And then move that over.
Sugar. But what if I...
Too fast. We gotta zoom in.
Instead of sugar. But what if I told you that...
Yeah, I think that's better. I guess we'll find out. Obviously, we'll end up messing with the audio and eliminating breaths and all that stuff so that the audio sounds a little bit cleaner.
You've probably met someone who's on the keto diet. It seems like yet another trendy low-carb diet, right? Just like the Atkins diet or the paleo diet. All of these food regimens use the same basic principles that essentially force the body to burn fat for fuel instead of sugar. But what if I told you that the keto diet, unlike these other diets, does more than just help people lose weight and get buff? In fact, it's sometimes used today as a valuable medical tool to treat epilepsy.
Okay, cut there. Oops.
But
Cut there too. Just see.
treat epilepsy. But let's back up. Where did these low-carb diets come from? And how the heck do they have an effect on epilepsy?
Okay. How did that happen? Do you guys see this? There's like there's 2 frames here that are left over. Did I accidentally shift this?
They have an effect on epilepsy.
I did. Okay. Interesting. I wonder how far back that goes.
Epilepsy. But let's back up. Sometimes used today as a valuable medical tool to treat epilepsy. But
that seems shifted as well. Sorry, just had to clean this somehow. I accidentally shifted some of these clips back.
Sugar. But what if I told you
So
that the keto
video
diet,
and audio weren't
unlike
synced up.
these other diets, does more than just help people lose weight and get buff? In fact, it's sometimes used today as a valuable medical tool to treat epilepsy. But let's back up. Where did these low-carb diets come from? But let's back up. Where did these low-carb diets come from? And how the heck do they have an effect on epilepsy?
Okay, so we have another take of that same line.
But let's back.
All right, chat. If you can help me out here real quick, put a 1 in the chat if you like the first take, and put a 2 in the chat if you like the second take. Here we go.
But let's back up. Where did these low-carb diets come from? And how the heck do they have an effect on epilepsy?
So that's number 1.
But let's back up. Where did these low-carb diets come from? And how the heck do they have an effect on epilepsy?
That's number 2. All right, put in your votes. You like the second one? Oh, Nick Wham? Hey, Nick. How's it going? Good to see you. Or, yeah. Number 2. Other thoughts? 10 seconds. All right, 2 it is. Oh, we got a 1 in there. Okay, now we're split. We need a tiebreaker. Nick, do you want to break the tie?
But let's back up. Where did these low-carb diets come from? And how the heck do they have an effect on epilepsy? But let's back up.
Number 2.
Where did these low-carb diets come from? And how the heck do they have an effect on epilepsy?
I'm going to make the executive decision and go with number 2.
Epilepsy. But let's back up. Where did these low-carb diets come from? And how the heck do they have an effect on epilepsy?
Had you a gosh dang? Good. Glad that that caught your attention.
So it
Okay, cut there.
so it,
Cut that. Let's see how that...
so it turns
Okay, we'll overlap that because we've got a little bit of space there. Do one of those.
on epilepsy. So it turns out that using
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
do they have an effect on epilepsy? So it turns out that using dietary adjustments to treat health conditions has been going on for a long time. While lots of people thought epilepsy had a supernatural cause, you know, like demonic possession, there's a document from
Okay, we gotta cut this up a little bit.
for a long time.
One of these. Do this.
Time. While lots of people thought epilepsy had a supernatural cause, you know, like demonic, it had a supernatural cause.
What I'm thinking here.
You know, like demonic possession.
Do one of these.
There's a
Do this. So, what we'll do here, you know, get a nice zoom in. Look at that. Wide eyes. Let's actually go 100% on the zoom. Oh yeah.
you know, like demonic possession. There's a document from 400
Something like that. You could probably move that down slightly.
There's a document from 400 BC where a Greek physician argues that it could be treated with dietary changes. Another document
Okay. Oh man. Okay. We're just doing J cuts all over the place.
Another document changes.
Maybe we'll even tighten that up just a little bit more. Like so.
Another document from the same era
Yep.
describes a patient whose epilepsy was supposedly cured when he stopped eating or drinking. And at least a couple of physicians eating or drinking.
Oh, how did that happen? Don't want that. Okay. All right.
And at least a couple of physicians around that time, including stopped eating or drinking. And at least a couple of physicians around that
Let's try this again. Don't you guys, do you think I have enough J cuts? Should I add more? If you get popcorn, Julia, can you get me some too?
and at least a couple of physicians around that time, including the bloodletting loving Galen, argued that fasting could help with mild epilepsy. But
Okay, let's see if we can.
on epilepsy. So it turns where did these low carb diets come from, and how the heck do they have an effect on epilepsy?
All right, we already have a take of that.
So, it turns out that using dietary adjustments to treat health conditions has been going on for a long time.
I thought that I had deleted all these second takes, and now I've got all these 2 takes of the same thing. So I don't know. apparently the video is going to be much shorter than 16 minutes, which I'm okay with, but for whatever reason I thought I had already removed or selected the takes that we're going to use.
While lots of people thought...
Okay, let's skip forward. I don't think...
Another document from the same era describes a patient whose epilepsy was supposedly cured when he stopped eating or drinking.
I kind of like that.
Another document from...
So we'll keep that.
Another document from the same era describes a patient whose epilepsy was supposedly cured when he stopped eating or drinking.
Okay.
And at least...
Actually...
And at least a couple of physicians around that time, including the...
Okay. So it's just these parts here. We're gonna delete those, bring this over, move this down.
Dietary changes.
Right there. We're gonna give ourselves yet another J cut because we've earned it.
Another document changes. Another document from the same era describes a patient whose epilepsy was supposedly cured when he stopped eating or drinking.
Okay, and one more just for good measure.
And at least a couple of physicians around that time, including the bloodletting loving Galen, argued that fasting could help with mild epilepsy.
Yeah, that's a better take. All right, great.
But the first known true study of this idea...
Okay. Once again, let's do this.
Epilepsy. But the first known true study of this idea didn't happen until 1911 in France, when 20 epilepsy patients combined periods of fasting, not eating, and purging, throwing up, with a low-calorie vegetarian diet. Sounds kind of miserable. The majority of the
Okay, I'm gonna guess that we have another take of this.
But out of this weirdness, McFadden...
Oh, dang. I thought that maybe we would actually... Maybe we would actually have another take. But that's okay. We'll just cut this up. You will get to see the entire video, just in fits and starts right here, right now. And then eventually you'll get to see the final product when it comes out on Wednesday.
Mild epilepsy. But the first known true study of this idea didn't happen until 1911 in France, when 20 epilepsy patients combined periods of fasting, not eating, and purging, throwing up, with a low-calorie vegetarian diet. Sounds kind of miserable. The majority...
Okay, cut that. Bring that over. And do yet another J cut here.
Miserable. The majority...
Nope, too fast. Too fast.
The majority...
Still too fast.
The majority of...
Let's see what that...
Sounds kind of miserable. The majority of the participants couldn't maintain the diet, go figure, but the two who did showed very dramatic improvements. And the diet didn't have a negative effect on cognitive capabilities, unlike the leading medications at the time.
How are we at multitasking?
At the time.
Not very good. It's hard to focus on what I'm doing and also read comments, but I'm trying my best. You know? Okay. You want me to tell stories? Sure. How we started out. So, neurotransmissions, the channel.
time. Meanwhile, on
Started when Allie was in grad school, and I'd been doing video editing for a while, and Allie was getting interested in doing sort of public outreach stuff, science communication sort of things, and we did a music video for Allie's program way back in the day. It's on our channel. It's called Get Data. That was like one of the first science-y things that we made, and it ended up getting some mild recognition among, you know, science nerds. And later on, we had a friend send us a link to a competition, a video competition, where you submit a video, and it was for like Brain Facts, which is a website, and it had to be a brief video about something related to the brain. And so we filmed that while we were like out on vacation, came back, edited it, and ended up winning second place, which was awesome. And we had a lot of fun doing that. You know, I had a great time because I got to use a lot of my sort of video editing skills, and Allie really liked writing it, and you know, obviously it did fairly well. And that's when we started talking about like, maybe we should do this more. So that's when we started to think about neurotransmissions as a channel and like doing regular videos. And initially we were going to do one video a week, which was insane, and we quickly decided that that was a bad idea. But we started doing like, you know, the basic neuro videos, and then from there sort of went off into a lot of different video topic ideas, and I started doing videos myself and all that stuff. Yeah, I told you I'm not good at multitasking, so it's either one or the other, but I don't mind taking breaks every once in a while to answer questions, so feel free to ask away, but it will interfere with the editing process.
Unlike the leading medications at the time. Meanwhile, on the other side of the pond, a fasting trend was hitting the US. There's actually this
Cut there.
There's actually this kind.
Let's do this.
There's actually this kind of.
You know, there's certain parts of editing that are much easier to multitask with. Like last stream, I felt like I was pretty able to do that because it's cutting away a lot of like useless footage. But once you get down to like a little bit more detailed stuff like this, where you're looking at, you know, milliseconds, then it becomes hard to split your brain around.
There's actually this kind of hilarious and weird bit from this time where a guy named Bernard McFadden, who apparently hated doctors, started producing his own magazine called Physical Culture, where he argued that medicine is a sham and all you need is a good diet and exercise to live to be over 100 years old. To prove his years old.
Okay. Cut that, do a little bit of overlap there. And
to prove his point, he filled the magazine with pictures of himself, posing with muscles bulged. Hot. But out of this weirdness...
Okay, we already got that. So this is yet another take.
Started using... He claimed that if you fasted for a while, it was caused by toxins...
Wait,
a guy named Hugh.
Oh, this isn't a second take. I thought it was another take.
But out of this weirdness.
Okay. And what we're going to do is overlap that slightly. Just a little bit. Like that.
But out of this.
Yeah. Fasting does weird things to your body, man.
But out of this weirdness, McFadden's assistant, a guy named Hugh William Conklin, started using fasting to treat illnesses and began promoting the idea that epilepsy was caused by toxins secreted in the intestines. He claimed.
Okay, we're gonna cut that.
Intestines.
Oh no. Let's do that.
Intestines. He claimed that if you fasted for a while, like 18 to 25 days, you could totally detoxify your body and cure your epilepsy.
You could totally detoxify your body, meaning you just wouldn't have anything in your body anymore.
Epilepsy.
Okay.
He's.
Oh no. What did I just do?
Cure your epilepsy. He supposedly had a 90% cure rate for cure your epilepsy. He supposedly had a 90% cure rate for epilepsy in children, and around a 50% cure rate for adults up to age 40. This was a 40.
That's weird. Look at this. I don't know if you can see this very well. Yeah, I guess so. Look at this waveform. You know, Allie's not talking here in this part of the video, but it's so high. I don't know why that is.
This.
It's just the breath. Man, it's a loud breath then. It doesn't sound that loud.
40.
Okay. Gut biome is tricky. It is. Guts.
Age 40. This was a big.
What's that? All microbiomes are tricky? I suppose that's true.
40. This was a big deal, especially in the early 1900s, because there wasn't a whole lot in the way of effective anticonvulsant medication.
Okay. Overlap there.
Medication. The best medication.
I think we'll actually shorten that because we don't need that much.
Convulsant medication. The best option. Convulsant medication. The best options at that time were potassium bromide, which prevented seizures, but also.
You want to see the spectrograph for that section? What's the mic picking up? I don't know. I've already cut it, and I don't really feel like undoing it. What? I'm curious though. Well, hang on. Maybe we can pull it up. Where was it?
40. This was.
Was it here? Here. Let's just entertain me for a moment. Is that the section? No, that was not it. Maybe it's another. Is it this one? No. Where the heck was that?
Cure your epilepsy. He supposedly had a 90% cure rate.
Is it here?
40. This was a big deal, especially in the early 1900s.
Where the heck was that? Any clue? I think it was this one. No, yeah. Yeah, this is it. All right. Look at that.
This.
Okay, let me pause the music here. And let's isolate this. And then cut out this, right? Now let's bump the gain so you can really hear it.
40.
That's what it was. It was a car. It's a car sound in the background. You hear it?
40. 40. 40.
Okay, we've solved the mystery of why the waveform looked like that. It was a car going. All right, back to normally scheduled editing. Kepra procedures. That's great. Does it work? Does it work out well?
Just to write it out, which isn't great.